Welcome to another episode of the Creatress Rising show. Thank you, sisters, for joining us today. We have the beautiful Malaika Daville. Malaika is a transformational movement medicine facilitator. She has traveled the world, different cultures, putting shows and facilitating movement throughout the globe. She is one of my favorite DJs and an absolute incredible human. Malaika, welcome.
Thank you so much, Tamara. Wow, that's an honor. Thank you so much for that great introduction.
Awesome. So, Malaika, how did your movement medicine journey, and you do so much more than just movement medicine. You're really an embodiment coach and a specialist in lots of different cultural aspects of dance and movement. So how did it all begin for you?
Well, I guess, going way back, I was born my mother is Jamaican, so I have Jamaican roots. So we have music and culture at our foundation. And by the time I had two children, and after the second son was only 1.5, we went to Africa, and I lived in an African village on the ground, embodying, because I was living, the children were both born in Australia, but I was really, that whole struggle in the nuclear family of one woman, one man, two children, trying to do everything, be breadwinners, have a life, entertain the children, cook, clean. It was just like, this is a nightmare. So I really am under that philosophy that it takes a whole village to raise a child. And I really, really, really wanted to learn dance. And so I started dancing actually at 28. So it's when kind of most dancers are retiring. That's when I actually started dancing, African dance, and that, as you know, that was a whole part of my life and journey in my life. And then teaching African dance in Australia to a mainly, largely white population that didn't really have music and dance at their foundation. It was very hard. Like, the African dance came very natural to me, but it wasn't so natural for other people to feel these rhythms or to feel the rhythm in their body. And I realized there was like this huge disconnect between the body and this, the mind. And so I developed the 5 elements dance, which was much more of a less facilitated, less choreography, guided shamanic dance journey, incorporating my wisdom of the 5 elements, both from Ayurveda and from a shamanic perspective, and getting people back into their bodies so that they could have the same experience that I had in Africa, of this ecstasy that I experienced when the drums were going and my body was just entered into a place that I call when you're in that vortex and you're just like, it's just feels so good. You're just, there is no mind, there is no past, there is no future. You're just right there with the presence, with the drum, and your body is, the music is dancing you, it's like your spirit is just dancing. And it's, so I wanted people to have that experience that I had for themselves. So creating these ecstatic dance experiences for people to connect with their bodies and connect with the music and be allowed to just move in whatever way their bodies wanted to or needed to, led me to understanding how the body unwinds from trauma, basically, to come back to that homeostasis and come back to that deeper place of healing. So it's been a wild journey that never ends, because there's constantly something to discover.
Yeah. And I've been looking into and reading up on and talking with people so much these days about that ecstatic space in which we enter. And it's similar to like the space we enter with breath work, that just complete surrender, complete, it's like entering a whole new reality, really.
Yeah, I like to. Sorry, go ahead.
What are some of the changes that, or some of the transformations that you see people take when they experience that, or have when they experience that?
Mm-hmm. So when people have an experience, I like to call it the oneness, the field of oneness, and especially when you have it in a group, and I experienced it lots of times in Africa, and I've experienced it lots of times on the ecstatic dance floors here, where the music and the DJ is kind of taking everybody on a journey, and suddenly it peaks into this state where people just spontaneously let go, and everybody just starts to raise the vibration. And so on a physical level, I feel that it's deeply healing to the body, because one, you are breathing a lot already. You're breathing a lot when you're dancing. Two, you're not thinking. So we spend so much time in our brains thinking, and thinking about the future, especially, that has not even occurred yet, and or dwelling on the past, and causing so much suffering and pain to ourselves because we're in the past. And so when we have this experience of being what it feels like to be present in the moment, it's kind of like you get a taste of that enlightenment. You're like, wow. And so you start creating more and more experiences where you can actually spend more and more time in that state, and less time in the other suffering states. So it has I've seen people that have had all kinds of ailments, especially mental health. It's very, very, very healing for mental health patients. Very, very healing. I've done a lot of work in addiction, working with people with addiction, and all addiction is there's a lack, right? The addiction is just filling the place of where there's some kind of a lack, and usually it's something that happened to the child when they were young. And so by bringing the person into this state where they can have an experience of themselves as whole, perfect, as they are in this moment, it's not like, oh, you need 24 more hours of therapy, or whatever psychological stuff you need to go through. You can have an experience of like, wow, like I'm just acceptable just the way I am, just as I am, right here, right now, in this moment. And that's an experience of you experiencing your wholeness, experiencing your wellness. And that has been my experience of using. So when I was in the States and I was working in it was called an alternative to med center. So people that were addicted to medication, and then they were coming off the medication. And I was supposed to be doing like games and some music and stuff with them, but they were coming out of addiction. And I was like, it wouldn't have mattered if I was Beethoven, basically. They're uncomfortable in their bodies because they're coming off of something. So getting them moving, and where they can move their body and come back to the felt sense in the body, and instead of these uncomfortable sensations, and create pleasurable sensations in the body as well, and just witnessing these sensations that are always there, and they're always moving, and they're always changing, and to not grab onto them, and to not chase them, both the good ones or the bad ones, but just to become witness to, wow, I'm alive, and there's so much happening inside my body. It's it kind of is, it's like a little kid. It just triggers something of, wow, there's so many more possibilities for what I can create with that energy.
Beautiful, beautiful. And Malaika, you have done a lot with birthing women over the years, women giving birth, and how important is movement to support the woman in that, I want to say ecstatic birth process, but for so many women, it's not ecstatic at all. But, how does movement support them to have a pain-free or an ecstatic kind of birth?
Well, if you look at the original belly dancing, belly dancing, the dance of belly dancing was originally a birthing dance. So all that shimmying, that shaking, and then, I guess some guys maybe spied on women doing it, or, a woman had her husband there, and they saw the women doing it, and it became a dance that women did for men. But it was originally women's dance for women when they're giving birth. So, says it all. We need to move when you're giving birth. So the hospital experience of laying down on your back, laying in a bed, with your legs wide open, completely defies gravity, completely defies the whole process of what's happening in your body. And giving birth has got to be one of a woman's most primal experiences. Like, you don't really care about what you look like. You don't really care about who's even looking at you, and you don't even care that you're naked. You just you're just in the process of birthing. And for a lot of women opting to book in for the cesarean without even going through that process, I feel like, wow, we're really missing a woman's greatest initiation. Because what happens is, through the moving of the body, it's like, because you're working with your baby, the baby is, pushing his or her way down the birth canal. So the baby is moving inside and all these things are happening. Your body is opening. So the more you soften, the more you learn how to tune in with sensation. Because, when we have the term kind of ecstatic birth, it can be a little misleading in that people think they're going to be having this like, blissed out experience birthing. But the thing is that it's a very powerful sensations. So the more you train yourself to be in tune with sensations, I mean, having sex, making love is very powerful sensations. So if you can tune in with those sensations, and then the same with the sensations when you like slam your finger in the door and you're just like, whoa, that's like intense pulsing that's happening right now, and just take all of your awareness into that pulsing that's happening, and then you see it start dissipating and lightening up, and then you maybe feel like a tingly sensation as the blood flow starts coming back in, and you start witnessing the sensation and take it out of the labels of this is painful and this is pleasurable. Just it is all sensation. So that's where dance and movement is so good, because it brings us back again and again to sensation, to vibration, which is our true nature. That's all we are, is just vibrating particles of light. And when we are in depression, like if we're experiencing self-harm, or we're in kind of some state of mental depression, that is a low frequency vibration. So the body is not really moving so much. The cells and everything in the body is just like coming down into this, like almost when you're dead, there's no vibration happening. So the more alive you become, the more chaos you create inside the body, actually, the more, aliveness there actually is. So the more you kind of like move the body to awaken the cells and to bring that vigor and that radiance and that aliveness into the body. Deep breathing, you're breathing a lot, you're taking in more prana, you're emptying out more of the old toxins out of the body. Things start shifting and changing and moving, and then you become in a more heightened vibratory state. And so your vibration is higher, so it's natural in a higher state of vibration to think more positive thoughts. So the same with birthing. When a woman's giving birth, if she's just laying there, curled up in the corner going, oh my God, this is so painful, I can't do it, just slice me open, make it over. You're missing the experience of like, move around, crawl around like an animal, find the place where you can ride the waves that come in these contractions, and every time a contraction comes, looking at it like everything in life, this too shall pass. You're not going to be in labor forever. That there is an ending to this, and the ending is you're going to have your beautiful baby. And so, and that's always been the thing when I've been at birth.
I guess that's the same. Sorry, I guess that's the same process for anything. Like if you're birthing your business, which is what I feel like I'm doing right now, or whether you're working through something with a partner, it's like, to just keep moving through it and keep allowing the energy to, have that chaos to bring up the energy, and then allow it to pass, to just keep bringing things through. And it doesn't really matter which area of life that speaks to it. Absolutely.
And that's sorry,
I was just going to ask, can you tell me about your personal movement practice? Like, what are you doing each day for your for your body, for your mind, for your soul, for your health, for your, embodiment and transformation?
Mm-hmm.
What are you up to?
So, well, I love my first thing in the morning is hands on heart, hands on womb, and hello to my womb and hello to my heart. And I give gratitude to myself of like, oh, I woke up today, when you think of like how many millions of people did not wake up on the planet today. So I come into that state of gratitude, and I take a nice full deep breath. And then I like to, sometimes I'll lay in bed and do like 3 rounds of 30 breaths, like the Wim Hof breathing, just to really fully flood my body and clear out any toxins from sleep. And then my cat usually wakes me up, and I get on my mat after having a glass of hot water with lemon, just to get the colon and bowels moving. If I haven't done a bowel movement yet, then I'll do that. And then I love to like roll around on my mat and do some somatic stretches, just like that animal, not sort of thinking. And then I have my yoga flow practice that I do. And it depends on different, phases, or if I've had a late night, or if I have something happening early that morning, how long I can actually spend doing that. But I really savor it. And then I'll practice a little bit of music on my guitar, play a little bit of music, or put on one of my favorite tracks. If I've got a DJ set coming up, I'll put some of the music on and dance around to see if I really like those tracks, if those tracks are good to dance to. And then when I'm hot and sweaty, I'll go down to the ocean and have a quick jump in the ocean, make some offerings, say thank you to the ocean, have a start my day with just that gratitude to Mama Bali, come back, take a shower, and boom, then I'm ready to start my day. So that's, yeah.
Amazing. And you, Malaika, you have so many different offerings on your website and through your social media pages and things like that. But tell me a little bit about some of the offerings that you're going to be putting onto the Creatress Rising app.
Yes, so I have 2 amazing meditations, which I just created, and they, I feel like, especially what the world is going through right now collectively, and what we've just come through with the whole COVID thing, that a lot of people, we're in this kind of, we're in a state of insecurity, if you want to say it, but life has always been insecure. It's just now it's much more in your face. So, and that in your face, where it's kind of rattled some people's worlds of what they once thought was solid and secure is now kind of moving a little bit, has made some people feel very, very uncomfortable in life. So these meditations are, the first one is to unwind your body and slow everything down, so that you can allow these intentions for the day to bubble up from the inside out. So, I also like to set an intention for each day, and that intention might be something, like coming out of my body. It might be something like move slower today, or take more time to breathe today, or be more kind to others today. Whatever that sankalpa, but it comes up from my body. And so this guided meditation is a deep unwinding of the nervous system to help you to get really calm, to allow that what wants to happen for each new day to bubble up from the inside out. So that's kind of like a daily meditation that you can do that's guided by me. And then the second one is a meditation to meet your inner masculine. So, many spiritual texts speak about this inner marriage, or, the sacred marriage, the holy marriage. And a lot of people have taken that into looking for their, beloved outside of themselves. And so in this meditation, it's really a meditation to take you as women to meet your own inner masculine, because a lot of times we're leading with our masculine, we don't even know it. We've learned so well how to don the masculine mask and lead our lives with the masculine mask, and not learn to surrender and slow down and be more vulnerable or express our emotions when they rise, to go more with the flow, to move more in group cohesion, like working together, co-creation instead of the top dog at the top of the CEO company. Women's way is much more inclusive. It has always been, and so getting this contact where we meet our inner masculine, it allows us to one, bring awareness to what we do in our relationships, because 99% of the time the way your inner masculine shows up is what's going to be happening in the outside world. So then the more you can form this relationship with your own inner masculine and bring him into alignment, and bring your feminine and your masculine into alignment, and ask your masculine if he wouldn't mind taking the back seat, the back seat for a while, and let you lead with the feminine and feel that support that you've got from within yourself of the masculine behind you, so that you can actually lead as a woman. So it's a very powerful Tantra process. I love this process. And when I did it, it was, many, many years ago, I did this process. And when I met my inner masculine, it was very funny how he showed up was very similar to how my partner at the time was showing up. And then when I started showing up more and more for myself in that way, and giving permission for my masculine to take the back seat and lead more with my feminine, I actually came home one day and he had, cleaned the bathroom and cleaned the toilet. Like, that hadn't happened in 20 years. So it, had profound effects in my external world without me having to do anything, which is much more the feminine way. It's like much more take care of the inner garden and heal that, and let's see what happens on your external world starts to shift. So I always kind of work in that way.
Yeah. And by special request, some playlists are going to go on their Creatress Rising app as well. They'll be your SoundCloud or your Spotify?
That'll be on my SoundCloud. Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm very much looking forward to those.
Right. Yeah. So there's African dance on there for days when you need some fire. There's some yoga playlists on there, because I also teach yoga. So when you need more yin and more slow, and you just want some somatic movement and things. And then there's ecstatic dance, and there's 5 elements dance if you want to go on more of a 5 elements journey through the elements. So got lots of variety, and there's I like to play with many genres of music. So
yeah. Well, Malaika, I feel like I have like 25 more questions for you, but we're going to leave it at that today. Thank you so much for joining me and for being part of this Creatress Rising sisterhood.
Thank you so much. Yes, I feel it's very powerful work, because together we rise, and women, this is our time to reclaim our place in the circle of life, to bring harmony and balance back into the earth. So thank you for doing what you're doing.
Absolutely. Now is the time. See you.
All right. See you, darling. Thanks again.